Everyone vote, get informed, vote your conscience. All right, candidates for Titus County Judge, Brian Lee is the Republican nominee. Sam Russell is the Democratic nominee and the incumbent. Brian will speak first.
Well, this is a great turnout, and I appreciate you guys giving up your evening. Fortunately, we don't have a Ranger game going on tonight. We'll be ready for tomorrow night. I am Brian Lee. I'm the Republican candidate for the county judge position. This month, Judy and I celebrate 27 years in Titus County. And my son's here with me tonight. I remember bringing him out here when he was 5 months old. I'm a Baylor graduate. I've got a business degree in accounting. I'm a CPA and a local business owner. Judy and I built and operated the El Chico restaurant for 20 years. We sold it in 2007. I'm currently in the self-storage business and a partner at LNP Concrete. I serve on the board of directors of our hospital. I'm also on the board for the hospital's fundraising foundation. I'm a 20-year member of the Industrial Foundation, and I was appointed by the City Council to serve on the Industrial Development Corporation. I'm the treasurer for Habitat for Humanity, and I'm a former city councilman. I'm not a lawyer. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But a county judge doesn't have to be a lawyer. In fact, only 35 out of the 254 county judges in Texas are lawyers. I'll have both administrative and judicial responsibilities. I'll work with other elected officials, and together we'll develop and maintain the annual county budget. I'll also preside over the Commissioner's Court. Our job is to get the maximum return for the resources that you provide. We'll continue to keep your taxes low, and we'll provide the appropriate services. I bring real-world accounting and management skills to this job. In the courtroom, I'll keep the misdemeanor docket current by holding court regularly and frequently. Everyone that's involved in that process is going to have plenty of time to be able to plan ahead. I'll hold defendants and bondsmen accountable for failure to appear. I'll expedite the plea process and collect the appropriate fees and fines. I'll have jury trials and non-jury trials when they're requested. I really believe our law enforcement officers do a tremendous job arresting the people that break the law. I know that our county attorney really does want to hold court and get the appropriate convictions. I'll not be a weak link in that system. No more catch and release. That's for the game wardens. I'm running as a Republican, and I almost always vote Republican. 4 years ago, I voted for my opponent. I thought he had the education, the experience, and the connections to do a fantastic job. I've been disappointed. I can and I will do a better job. Thank you.
I'm Sam Russell. I'm Titus County Judge. For those of you who may not be familiar with my background, I grew up in Titus County. My family and Janet's family have been here since the early to mid-1800s. I graduated from Mount Pleasant High School. I received my undergraduate degree in accounting from East Texas State University and my law degree from South Texas College of Law in Houston. My interest in public service began 50 years ago when, as a freshman and sophomore in high school, I had the opportunity to serve in Washington as a page in the U.S. House of Representatives under Congressman Wright Patman. I was there at the end of President Eisenhower's administration and the beginning of President Kennedy's administration. What an interesting time in American political history. I was elected to and served 5 terms in the Texas House of Representatives, beginning in 1983. During my last session of the legislature, I was chairman of the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee, a member of the House Transportation Committee, and majority leader. In 1992, I joined the governor's staff as legislative director and served in that capacity until 1995. From 1995 until 2004, I represented clients in Austin, and in 2004, Janet and I returned to Mount Pleasant. In Titus County, the county judge serves in two capacities: Chief Administrative Officer of the county and a voting member of the Commissioner's Court and the presiding judge of county court. Titus County has been real fortunate over the years to have a Commissioner's Court that has been frugal and responsible with their tax dollars. In 2006, there were only 11 counties in Texas that had a lower tax rate than Titus County. Even after the Loop project was approved by the voters 2-1, and the bonded indebtedness tax added to our tax rate, as you heard Commissioner Hockaday say, we're 37th lowest in the state out of 254. For 2010, there was no county property tax increase, and the new budget, which was recently approved, is essentially the same as last year's budget. That's a good record of which I'm proud to be a part. When I took office in 2007, there were between 2,800 and 3,000 cases on the misdemeanor docket. Many of these cases had been on the docket from the 1980s and 90s. There were even some there from the 1970s. No, you do not have to be a lawyer to be county judge, but when you have a backlog of cases of 2,800 to 3,000, somebody obviously doesn't know what they're doing. So with the help of our prior county attorney, Tim Taylor, we began addressing those cases, many of which were dismissed for various reasons. The main one being the inability of us as a state to provide a speedy trial. Now, I know I've been accused of dismissing cases. Judges don't dismiss cases on their own. Cases are dismissed at the request of the prosecuting attorney. Courts are about justice for people. I sought this office 4 years ago, and I'm seeking re-election because I have the education, qualification, and experience to perform all of the functions that are required of a county judge. My goals during my first term were to reduce the misdemeanor case backlog. We have addressed that. We have considered in misdemeanor court, in county court, over the last 4 years, 6,600 cases on the docket. So somebody's doing some work somewhere. We've improved the use of our county technology. Not only is there a lot of information available on our website, but the public can also conduct business online. And that's taken the work of our county clerk's office, our JP offices, and our tax assessor collector's offices to get all that available for local citizens. As far as addressing economic development is concerned, we're working closely with the City of Mount Pleasant and the Department of Transportation to begin the Loop project approved by the voters, which is a potential $150 million economic development project for the county.
Thank you. Okay, Sam, you get to go first on the first question. Sam, what grade would you give your performance as county judge for the past 4 years and why? Just so you know, Brian is going to be asked, Brian, what grade would you give Sam and why?
Without a doubt, A+. And again, I would submit to you that we have handled a lot of cases in our misdemeanor court. We continue to handle cases in misdemeanor court. We will continue to handle them. But I think not only as a member of the Commissioner's Court, but as presiding judge of the county court, we've done what we've been asked to do.
Okay, Sam, I have a follow-up question on that. Are revenues up or down from county court?
Well, I can only tell you what my opponent's ad showed. I don't know, because my job is not to sit there and determine what fines are going to be imposed based on what the revenue might be needed for the county. There is only one instance when a county judge can set the fine that a person is going to pay, and that's when there is a trial to the court. If it's a plea bargain case, that's between the county attorney and the defendant. If the county judge doesn't approve it, then you're probably looking at a jury trial in that particular instance. So, to answer your question, I don't have that figure.
Okay, thank you. Brian, what grade do you give Sam?
I'm a little tougher teacher, I guess. I'm going to give him a C. In 2006, the total judicial revenue was $314,000. That was 1 year before my opponent took office. In 2009, in that full year, that same judicial revenue was $154,000, less than half. Now, my opponent has stated that it's not the purpose of the court to generate income. The purpose is to serve justice, and I agree with that 100%. But serving justice doesn't mean dismissing cases and letting cases stagnate on the docket. I think that a strong and stable court revenue is the result of an efficient and effective court system. There's a direct correlation here. You have less courts, you've got less income. You have a larger docket of cases, you've got less income. You have more continuances, you have less income. More case dismissals, less income. But if you're serving justice, you've got a strong, stable, steady income. I can't find any good reason to justify that 50% drop in court revenue. Now, he may not want to be evaluated based on that kind of performance, but I think that it's a good way to evaluate performance. He wants you to distrust him when he says, I've made you promises and I've kept my promises. I wanted to come up with a fair and accurate way to measure that, and I think I did that.
You get to go first on the next question. In many Texas counties, there is a bail bond board, and we do not have one in Titus County. Do you think we should have a bail bond board? If so, why? If not, why?
I'm in favor of a bail bonds board. I've spoken with Sheriff Ingram. I've spoken with the Chief of Police. They're both in favor of this. Sulphur Springs now has a bail bonds board. They're extremely pleased with it. This relieves our sheriff of a lot of burdens and a lot of time that he has to spend dealing with the bail bonds issue. I think this board would establish some real good, clear guidelines that all bondsmen need to follow. It requires them to put up a significant sum of money in an escrow, and if they don't ultimately do their job, that escrow fund can be tapped and their money can be taken if that's the final outcome. Now, some of the people that would make up that board could be the county judge, the district judge, JP, the county clerk, the treasurer, the sheriff, the district attorney. There's any number of people that could be on this board. Rules and procedures are spelled out in a contract that each of the bail bondsmen have to follow. It goes over some of the things like application process, security, bondsman requirements, what qualifications they have to have, how complaints are handled, how forfeitures are handled. My objective is going to be to get the number of failures to appear to be a lot less than they are right now. Currently, we're running about a 25% failure to appear when we have a docket call. Well, there's no reason for that. I think by increasing the number of defendants that you can get there on the day the docket's called, you're going to reduce the size of that docket. Pleas are going to be heard in a timely manner. The fees and fines are going to be collected faster. And bail bondsmen are all going to have a standardized set of rules to go by. So I'm 100% in favor of it.
Thank you. Sam?
There is a process. There are two kinds of counties when it comes to bail bond boards. There are counties over 110,000 population where they are required. It's discretionary in counties under 110,000. If the people who serve on that board were to decide they wanted to create a bail bond board, they could do that. But they're going to have to present it to the Commissioner's Court and ask the Commissioner's Court to approve it. So I would submit to you, if the counties